Hello, I'm Brad Cass reporting for Folks News. Today we are holding a special on the upcoming 1992 presidential election. We have for the Republican Party our current President George Bush and for the Democratic Party Governor Bill Clinton. Now we turn to our senior correspondent Rachel Jankowski and her intern. What's her name again?
It's Julie.
Gandalf? What? I can't hear you. There's no words on it. You know what? We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Just let me write it and we'll do it live. Our senior correspondent, Rachel Jankowski, and her intern, Gandalf, with a special report on the legacy of former President Ronald Reagan.
Thank you, Brad. Now, Ronald Reagan is arguably one of the best presidents we have ever had. He's been able to fix our economy and get rid of the Soviets in only 8 years. Damn commies. Many of President Bush's current policies are based on those of Mr. Reagan.
Very impressive. How exactly did he get rid of the Soviets?
Enter.
Well, you see, Brad, Reagan threw away the old détente ideology of Nixon and full-on challenged the Soviets in an arms race. His Nuclear Strategic Defense Initiative program was out of this world. It scared the Soviets so much that they spent themselves into the ground. Reagan was so attached to his Star Wars platform that he refused to give it up during later disarmament agreements.
Now, how did the tensions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union settle?
Once Mikhail Gorbachev started passing social and economic reforms, such as glasnost and perestroika, Reagan was willing to negotiate. The Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty in 1987 was the first treaty to really start the slow of the arms race. Then in 1989, Mr. Gorbachev tore down the Berlin Wall, ending major threat of communism to the world.
Interesting. What can you tell me about communist expansion in the Western Hemisphere?
Well, you see, Brad, in order to prevent communist takeover in places such as Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Grenada, Reagan used the military to support the non-communist governments already in place.
Seems that Reagan was a real hawk on war. How did this affect his peacetime policies?
Reagan was very big on the military, but this was not a flaw by any means. His military buildup led to the success of the Gulf War under President Bush. Let's not forget President Bush's efforts in Kuwait. He led a coalition to destroy Saddam Hussein's army and push them out of Kuwait.
Thanks a lot, Rachel, for that special report. Now, we go to our correspondent, Mike Raffone, who is sitting down with our two candidates. Mike?
Oh, good afternoon. I'm Mike Raffone, and I'm about to talk with the future leader of the free world. First, I'd like to introduce the incumbent in the election, President George Bush, and then Governor Bill Clinton. Let's start tonight's debate with you, Mr. President. Anything you'd like to say to Americans all at home?
Well, first of all, I'm going to continue the tax breaks for the upper class put into place by President Reagan, as that undoubtedly brought back the economy. I will also continue the increased military spending in our government to ensure that we remain protected in these troubling times. I'd also like to mention to my fellow American why I decided to increase taxes. As many of you know, the debt in our government has increased, and I hope for that a small increase would help bring us back on the path of recovery. Overall, I just plan to keep us great, just as we've been.
A true American hero. Clinton, go.
Well,
All right, thanks, Bill. Now, Mr. President, what do you plan on doing for tonight's affairs?
Well, I'd like to continue having peaceful negotiations with Russia. By signing the START II, we've been able to lower the number of nuclear weapons by 2/3, which is better for everybody. Our relationship with Mr. Boris Yeltsin have helped Russia and America grow together, and I hope to further our relationship in the years if come to elected.
Truly beautiful. Anything left to say, Mr. President?
In conclusion, I want to keep America as what former President Ronald Reagan called the city on the hill, so that all nations will look up to us. To this day, communism is no longer a danger to the world. A vote for me is a vote to keep all the progress from the previous years continuing, making America a better nation every day. Thanks a lot, Mr. Raffone, and good luck to Governor Clinton.
What? Who? Oh, yeah. Well, thanks to you, too. Back to you, Brad. Thanks a lot, Mike. After the break, we'll have Nate Folk, who received his doctorate in basket weaving, telling us how making only 67 papier-mâché dolphins a day can keep your house from being haunted. We'll see you after the break.